Now it's time to create the UI for the search functionality. We have our, functionality for the header here and the listing route here, and then the listing.controller here. So now we have to go to the UI part, which is the client, and we could go to the source, we could go to the pages, and we don't have a search page here. So we could create a page here, which is going to be called Searh.jsx. So we're going to create a page called Searh.jsx. We could use rafc again. And now we could just type in search here. That's good. Okay. Okay, now the thing is we have to actually add this to our app.jsx file. So we could go here into our app.jsx, and over here we could just say, okay, so the thing is we have to go to the app.jsx file, and we just put a route here. So this is a route for the listing ID, and you could just have a route here for a path, and we could just say /search, and then we have element, and then we could just say we could have the element as search. And this is going to be imported here. Okay, so that's good. Now you could see over here that you could see that search here. This is great. Good progress. So now that we see that, we can move back here. This is just /search and question. So now that the search route has been configured, we could go to the search.jsx file and just add in the search component features. So like most of these things, this is going to contain some variables, and it's going to contain some things that we might have to navigate upon. So if I go and see the div over here, you could see that we could actually have a lot of things into it. So let's just go and put this on the right side and put this on the left side. And I have a lot of things that I would like to address. What I want to do is I want to add 2 columns, and it would be one left and one right. And in the left one, it should have some check boxes and a search term input field where it allows me to make some changes or filter my search. And in the right, it should show me the listings. So in a list view format. So like some cool boxes, really nice and responsive. And when I make it into a mobile view, it should have those 2 columns instead of left and right, but it should be top and bottom. You already know that's flex call. And you know that this is going to be flex row, so you could use Tailwind easily to do that for bigger devices and small, smaller devices first, and then advanced to larger devices. So normally that's the objective here. So I'm just gonna get the code for the UI, and I'm just gonna paste it, but I'm gonna actually explain my way and also gonna make some changes along. And so this is gonna be working really well. So what we could do is we could just remove this div and paste it with this div. Of course, it has a lot of issues, and we're gonna have to fix a lot of the things. So the first thing is that we have this div, outer div, we have this flex call and medium flex row, and then here we have div class name, and we have a padding of 7 and border B2, which is bottom 2, and we have medium. For medium devices, border should be row 2. Okay, border should be on row 2. So this is going to be actually gonna be really big, because this medium min height will be screen. It was just gonna go all the way to the bottom on bigger devices. Form, the border I'm talking about, and then the form on submit, we have handle submit. So the thing is, we don't have any of these functions now. So right now I would recommend just removing that. So we could have over here flex call gap 8. Okay, that's nice. This is the form, and in the form, remember, like I said, there are 2 divs. There's going to be the left div, which is, I believe it's this one. No. So this form has some extra things. I guess this form is actually part of the left div. Yes, it's part of the left div. So you can see over here, this is the left div actually. This entire thing is the left div, and this should be the right div. So that's the thing I'm talking about. Okay, so let's just go and look at the left div for now. Okay, so now over here we have this form. So you can see this form is till here. Okay, now this form contains almost everything. Now what we have to do is we have this div inside of it. And this div you can see as this flex item center and gap 2. And we have white space, no wrap, and font semibold. We have search term, and this is a label, and the input field is type text ID search term, placeholder search, class name border rounded LG, padding 3 and width full. Okay, now value and sidebar data dot search term and the on change. We don't have any of this, and I'm gonna do this in the next round. So right now we're just gonna have the UI designed. So I'm just gonna have this crossed out, and at the same time you could go on the bottom, you could see that there's actually this input field on the label over here. But if you look over here, we have now a label which has type, and then we have a div which has an input field with the checkbox all. So it has a width of 5, and also you can see over here it has some on change and checked states. So we're just going to remove those, and the same thing goes for here. You can see that this is another input field for rent. This is also on change and on checked for sale, and then this is also on change and for checkboxes, and then you could see essentially that's for offer, and then you could have this for parking, and then you could have this for furnished, and then you have this sort for selecting the on change here for depending on what sort you're doing. And there's these prices that are normally there, and then we have this second column over here. We have flex, and we have this listing results, and in here we are trying to basically get the listing results in this kind of loading state, no listing found and loading. And then we have normally we have these loading states and listing dot length. So right now at the moment nothing is there, so it's recommended to just consider not having this, because this is going to be showing there. Yeah, so normally I would just comment this out right now. Okay, and now you could see that there is a bunch of cool things here. So we have search term, we have item, rent, sale, offer, amenities, prices. We have high, low, and latest and oldest. We have the search term, and then over here we have listing results. So you could see over here, this is the thing I was talking about. This is how the search page should look like. Looks really nice, I guess. This is the UI now, and now we have to put the on states. Okay, so the thing is, we're gonna have to put the states, but the thing is, with the states we also have to adjust some of the other things as well. So let's go ahead and first add in the states. So normally those states that I was removing, I could just bring them back. So over here, 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 and yeah, like that, which is really good. But the thing is, now that we have this, it's again very useful to have this div closed. You could see this is the first column, and this should be the second column. And normally you would comment this one out first, because we're not looking at that one, and we're looking at this one. And you have these value, sidebar data dot search term, and we have the handle. Okay, so the first is we have this handle change. So we could just make a function here. So right on top of this, we could just create an on change. So const handle on change, or handle change, and it basically takes in an event, and it's essentially like that. Okay, Another thing that we have to do is the set sidebar data. We have to define the state because this state doesn't even exist anywhere. So we could just say const sidebar data, set sidebar data, and then you have normal use state, and you could just have, you know, like an empty object for that, you know, sidebar data. Or normally you could just change it according to your need. So in my particular need, I could actually just have the you know, sidebar data with some of the default values for the state. So the default values would be for search term, it would be empty. So that. For type, it would be all. For offer, it would be actually for parking, which is would be false. For furnished, it would be false. For offer, it would be false. And for sort, it would be created at. So score created underscore at. And for order, it would be descending like that. So that's great. These are the default values. You could see over here, sort is like created at, meaning like the most latest, and order is descending, meaning the most highest prices. So this is the default search bar data. Some of the states that are very handy are going to be loading, set loading to see if these actually go and apply. So use state, and we have false. We also have listings. So we could have listings, and we have set listings, and then we have equal to use state, and we have that set to just an empty list. So normally you will get a retrieval of many listings. And we also have show more, and we have set show more, and then equal to use state, and then we have false. Okay, great. So we have all of this stuff out, and it looks good. But the thing is that we're gonna have to manage the handle change functionality, because if I look into this, we have console log, and I don't know, use state is not defined. This is one of the errors that has been coming across. So you don't want React, so you could just have use state here, and I think useEffect has to be applied as well. But let's see. Whatever, if useEffect doesn't exist right now, we'll just have it later on. But what else is there? Handle submit is not defined. So handle submit. So essentially there should be a const handle submit function as well. But you could just have a body so that the error goes away. Okay, great. So now that we have this, you could see that we have the search, and you know, things look good, but now we gotta have to track the changes, because this is sidebar data, right? And it's all being tracked. I mean, if you console.log the sidebar data here, console.log sidebar data, you would actually see really nice progress of the tracking of them. So you could see over here, if I inspect and I do console.log, you can see over here we have so let's refresh and see over here we have some furnished set to false. So you can see over here that furnished is set to false, offer is false, and you have that false. Yeah, so furnished is false, and then you have parking is false. So parking, let's click on, let's say parking. Right now nothing has been tracked here, so that's why I can't really click on it, because I have to define the state for it, and once I do, then everything should be clickable. So let's go back and do that quickly. So let's go here and remove that, and cut this out, and also go back here and then maximize this screen. So what we're gonna do now here is we're gonna have to, first of all, create the handle change functionality. So if you look at the handle change functionality, we have multiple things to consider. And the thing that we have most considerable is this, which is e.target.id. And that is going to be all. Okay, either it's handle change to all, or if it's e dot target. I'm talking about the handles right now I just did. So e dot type, if it's all, or if it's rent, or if it's e dot target dot id, and that if it's sale. I forgot to close this out. Okay, if it's sale. If all three of these states, if it just somehow happens to have these kind of things, right? What you could do is you normally could say set sidebar data, and you could say the existing sidebar data is all included, but the new type for the e.target.id would be updated accordingly, and then this would be applied 100%, and then you would see that the sidebar checkboxes would be working as well. Okay, so over here we have e.target.id equal to, so sorry, so now we have is the search term. So we have e.target.id is equal to the search term. If that id equals to the search term, then you could have set sidebar data, and then you have sidebar data, and then e.target.value for the search term. Okay, now the next part after this is if the suppose if the e.target, so now if it's like e.target.id is equal to parking, or it's actually these are all Boolean states. So either if it's furnished, or there's one more thing, which is if it's offer. So all these are Boolean states. So they could say, they're just going to say if it's checked or not. And actually on the search query, it could also be given as true in a text format. If all that exists, you could just say, okay, return true, else you could have just returned false like that. And I think that's pretty much it for that. And we also have one for the order, set order, right? Order and sort and order. So it's basically if e.target.id equal to sort underscore order, you could have const sort equal to e.target dot value, and then you could split it underscore the first one, and you could say, or if it's not there, you could just say created at by default general, the most latest, and then order you could say e.target.value, and then split it underscore, and then you get the second one part, and you get that, or you could just normally say descending. And then by default it said set sidebar data, existing data already exists, but have the sort and the order within it. So this is your entire handle submit format document, and this is going to be your handle change, sorry. And now you could see that this is all clickable now. And if you look into this console, you'll see this object, and let's look at the offer, and you could see that right now the offer is false, sale, and what about the rent? So if you look into the type, it's all. Okay, and let me just refresh now. So at the moment, what you could see is nothing. But when I click on rent or sale, nothing is being tracked because I have the console.log not off or something. So let's have the console.log added here, and I'll say form sidebar data. Okay, so now if you look into this properly, okay, so now we have this. So we have like now type rent and all. So it's all actually. So you can see type all, and you have offer false, and you have order descending, normal stuff. And if you look at the parking, it's false. Let's click on parking over here and click on it. So when I click on it, you can see over here parking is still false, and now it's also still false. I don't know why it's not working. Okay, the rent is working, offer is working. Okay, we're gonna have to fix those parts out. Probably there's gonna be some issue, but over here we have a furnished false, offer false, order descending, parking false, search term, and created underscore at, and type is sale. Okay, so this type is sale now. If we look in this one, now it's gonna be rent. Okay, and if it's this, now it's gonna be all, should be all. Okay, and if I type in some search term, it's actually being reflected here as well. Right now, nothing's gonna happen because this doesn't even work. So I mean, it's going so good, going good, but we right now need sale offer. We need the offer. We need the amenities as well working. So let's go and remove this sidebar. And you can see over here, we have this sidebar. Okay, so we have all this stuff here. Looks good. And we'll go to the next part, which is actually the handle change. And right after handle change, we have the click the search, or normally we click the search button. The form is submitted, it has to be submitted, and the URL is changed. So essentially we have to go to the on submit for the form. So if we look into the form, we have an on submit handle. We're gonna have to use this function to essentially do our process. So this is an on submit event handler, and we're gonna have to try to navigate to it. So let's go and add the on submit event handler. So handle submit. So we're gonna go here and we're gonna say e.prevent default for it to not refresh. And we also have const URL params is equal to new URL search params, and we don't need any parameter in here, which is okay. Then we have URL params set search term, and we have sidebar search term, and we have type. We'll put that. We'll have parking. We'll put that. We'll have the furnish. We'll put that. We'll have the offer. We'll put that. We have the sort. We'll put that, and we'll have the order. We'll put that. So we're actually updating our data accordingly, and we'll also have the set search query to a URL search, and then we have to navigate it to that search accordingly. So this is the handle submit functionality, and it should be working, but we have to take care of the other measures, and once we do that, we're essentially gonna be enough with the use effect. The use effect is still got to be somewhere over here. So handle submit, and we're gonna have to put the use effect. So if we look into the use effect, we have to basically add it somewhere over here. So right in the states are defined right here. Let me just add the use effect. So we have const. Let's have use effect. And then we have and like that. Okay. And then we have essentially const URL params is equal to new URL search params. Location.search. And we have const search term from URL, and we have URL params.get search term. And then we have const type from URL, and we have URL params .get type. And then we have const parking from URL, and then we have getting parking from the URL. And the same thing, we're getting furnished from URL, and the same thing we're getting offer from URL, and the same thing we're getting sort from URL, and it should be order from URL. Okay, so now if the search term, so essentially if I have, if we have search term from URL, or type from URL, or yeah, all of this furnished and all that. So we want all of this stuff. Either it's all or some true false values as well. So we have search term and we have search term or this, type from URL or all, parking from URL, or basically there's actually sub values. So we're gonna have to format document. Okay. It has a problem too today. So essentially it's like, okay, you want to do the set sidebar data and just put it like that, and it should, just work accordingly like this. Okay, great. So now that we have all of that out of the way, we could go to the next part, which is fetch the actual thing. Okay. So we're gonna fetch the listings according to all of these specifications. So we're gonna have all of this, and we're gonna have the fetch listings, async, set loading, set show more. Right now we don't need this show more thing, so we don't need this at all. Okay. Okay. So essentially there had to be a closing tag, I guess. And that is over here. And location dot search should be over here. Okay, so now that looks good. I mean, it should reflect everything. And we have some issues. The first thing is there's this random slash in 103. If we look at a 103, this part, and if we look into that, all these other errors should be gone. So we have a get issue internal server error with, okay, there's actually no such thing as that kind of API. It's not that, so it's not valid. So let's go back here and try to call that API correctly. So it's in the event handler. Where are you? Yeah. So it's over here. We have slash API slash listing. Okay, so we're gonna have majority of this work done. Now I'm actually gonna use some of the code and we're gonna see some errors and we're gonna try to fix them all out. All right. So right now I actually, got the code, and you would see this all in GitHub, so don't worry about it. You could see that this is in the Searh.jsx. I try to run it and I could see that I have failed to resolve import components listing item. This item is from Searh.jsx, and it's a component. So the thing is, I have to create a component which is called listing item. So let's go ahead and create a component which is going to be called listing item. Listing item. All right. .jsx. Okay, great. So this listing item .jsx will have more items. It will just contain items for us. So we have this item, listing item would exist, and we'll have MD location from React icons. And then we'd have this listing item, and then we'll have this return. Normally it's more normal styling, but I have a slash listing, and then we have listing ID. And then I have some cool images of some, listings. So you can see some cool images, and then we have some divs here, and some div here for some of the icons, listing offer, and then we have some bedrooms and all that. So this is our listing item. Okay. And this is now a component, right? So this is a component, and essentially it's coming from the component, so it should like recognize it. So it's now components listing item .jsx. There export. Yeah, export default. So let's try to import it now this time. So let's say import listing item. Okay, so slash components, and we have listing item .jsx file. Are we even using it anywhere? I mean, we're not using it at the moment, so I mean, it shouldn't give us any issue. Let's refresh the page. Do you even have an issue? No, we don't have. So let's make sure that this server is okay. Okay, great. So now we have this page working. If you refresh this page, you have this small sort of issue, but you could just go to this home and it shouldn't give you this issue at all. I don't know why this is also coming here. But you know, I'm in the home. I don't have any problems. I'm here. I don't have any problems. You can see this is cool. You show listings. You can see some listings here. Okay, we have some show error listings. We have some issue in the profile.jsx 401. So listings. So maybe I'm not authorized or something, unauthorized. We're gonna have to sign out and sign in again because there's a lot of issues that happened. So let's go here, refresh it, and it should be cleared from the cache. And now we could just, you know, log in again. So inspect console. All right, this should now go away since we're logged in. I'll continue with Google, and we should be logged in easily. All right, great. Go back here, show listings. Some of our listings are here. Great, super cool. Now let's go and you know, go to new listing. You can see this listing. Okay, $50 off, looks good. Show listings. You could actually just view any of these listings. They're all there. Some have, you know, sliders. If you want to go and just search, like, suppose grand. Now over here you can see now there's the search term, right? And then we have grand here and grand here and grand here. Okay, we have this item, rent, sale, offer, furnished, and we could just press OK, and you know, you can see over here that this thing has been updated, where you could actually see the offer that has, you know, a grand list. Okay, so let's just submit again. And you know, normally you would see that this is a search term issue happening /API/listing/get search query. Okay. Fail to load resource. The server respond with the status of 500 internal server error. Anyways, right after this we have this code, which is this one, and this is just going to load more listings. So you'll see all of the listings existing. So if you look into this, if you look into this home page and then, you know, just let's suppose just search here, search term is nothing. I would like to see the console, and we have listing.map is not a function. And this is done at Searh.jsx line 250.